Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have yet to do so. I don't know what you're waiting for. Joking. Um, if you get anything from my work, a connect a dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, artwork to create. I did that the other day. Patriotic artwork to create. Please consider supporting my work. All of the links are at the bottom of the description. Alley Cat Creations211 is my website. You could see all this fantastic fun behind me, all those pyramids, paintings, hyper-realistic pencil drawings, candles, all that stuff is up for grabs. But you have to email me because I do everything private. Lastly, 3D channel memberships is a really great way for all of you to get some fun. So you guys help me and you guys get free entries into my raffles that I hold once a month. The end of the month, we're going to have one. I don't know what I'm raffling off just yet. And you also get channel member only video content, which is usually Oracle card videos, very in-depth, a lot of cards. I try to hone in on what the themes are and who needs to hear certain things. Spirit comes and drops down. I am a channel. Hi. So please check those things out. Those are great ways to support me, as I did not, for those of you who are wondering, and I'll talk about it tomorrow during Craft and Sip Live, I did not get that phone call today. So I did not get that job. Divine orchestration, let's go. Hi, Source. Hi. Something needs to give. Although I do want to thank, I don't even know if he watches my channel, but I have a nice person that got me food delivery the other day and asked me what I wanted. And literally, I got my fruit smoothie. I got to make fruit. Fruit's really expensive over here. Got fruit. Blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, kiwi, pineapple, nectarine. I think that's it. Pineapple. I said pineapple. Yeah. So that's what's in here. Makes me happy. I love my fruit. Okay. Anywho, back to where you guys are, why you're here. Chapter 21. The Voice of Isis. The Cycle of Necessity. I already know based off of that, it's going to be fantastic. Buckle up. I wish more people would view these Curtis book videos because they're profound. I don't know what goes on. I guess it's not popular enough, but I hope people start expanding when they're listening to this. And I hope more people hear it because it needs to be heard or even read. Go get their PDFs, go buy their books. They're fantastic, and I align with 90% of everything I've read, and I've read a lot of their books already. That's a lot of percentage on my behalf. Quote, I and my father are one, end quote. The higher self is the Father in heaven, who is continually striving to lead and guide the human personality, the Son, among the rocks and quicksands of physical existence, called the cycle of necessity, back to conscious oneness with him. Until the personality can consciously receive its teachings direct through the voice of the silence, the higher self must take advantage of every opportunity and event in the earth life to impress upon the physical brain cells of the personality the main lesson which the incarnation is intended to teach. For every earth life is carefully chosen by the reincarnating ego and is brought about under the best conditions and in the best environment possible under the limitations of karmic law to learn a certain great lesson necessary for the next step in experience. That is, the environment chosen is not the easiest or most pleasant for the personality, but the one which through its temptations and trials, the omniscience of the higher self deems best calculated to develop the soul qualities necessary for spiritual advance. Often the personality, owing to the denseness and sluggishness of the particles of its physical brain centers, fails to respond to the vibrations of the higher intelligence and cannot understand the guidance, hence ignorantly places karmic barriers between itself and the desired end. In such cases, life itself must be the teacher. Indeed, life after life is often spent in learning one great lesson. What? He blew me away. Say hard line with this. Woo! I do. I hope you guys do as well. That is phenomenal piece of advice and knowledge right there. Since a personality has free will within certain karmic limits, it cannot be coerced into following its divine guidance. Hence, if, like a boy playing truant from school, it refuses to learn its lessons, it must return day after day, life after life, to the same lesson until the lesson, is built into the character as a soul quality. Therefore, it is of the greatest importance for all students of the higher life to at least begin to learn how to control the higher centers of their physical brains and render them capable of registering the vibrations sent them from higher intelligences. I think we're at the age of Aquarius, and we're getting that crap now. It's not really crap, but it could be. Like wireless telegraph, no matter how perfectly the message is sent, unless the receiving apparatus is attuned to the key note of the sender, the messages cannot be intelligently received. That's why we're channels, baby. We just need to tune in a little higher. Yeah, I do. I don't know why I get toony. I do apologize. I'm excited. This is exciting. This is exciting. As all souls are but differing expressions of the one life, each must bring back into the one life a special experience. Unity does not mean an everlasting reoccurrence of one experience for all, but all experiences in the one. As each different part of the body has its own function, the experience of which is subject to and is registered in the brain, the sum total of the experiences of all organs and parts being necessary to complete a man, so are all soul experiences comprised in the one life. Thus is personality transmuted into individuality. Individuality is never lost. It grows more complete as it finds the complementary phase is of individuality in all the units of the one. The more a man individualizes the use of his hands, feet, or brain, the more perfect a man he is. For if the hands or feet or brain are left to follow their own subconscious animal instincts, the man remains but a clod. Only man has the power to individualize himself, and the urge toward this advance is imparted from the higher self or real ego. A master is one who has trained all parts and functions of his body to the highest possible individual development and holds them all subject to his will. Animals are subject to the will of man and only can gain what is called higher intelligence in an animal through the emanations of man's thought and will. Some animals can respond readily to man and some cannot. Some men can easily respond to the higher self and learn, while others, less evolved, cannot respond so readily. Yet all souls bring their individual contribution of experiences into the one life. Animals seem to follow more perfectly than man the laws of the one life and are less rebellious than man. The reason for this is that animals lack free will and blindly obediently follow the group soul of the species. Thus, all wolves have the same instincts, all the serpents the same characteristics. Hence, you know what is to expect from any animal of a given species under similar conditions. The Law of One. Do-do-do-do. Read it, The Law of One. The Law of One. I'm going to get back to that book too. Don't worry. I didn't get my job that I was interviewed for. So apparently I'm going to be trying to find another one until something opens up. But yeah, Law of One. In the beginning, each soul is given its particular work and place in the grand plan, and the experience necessary to attain this end must be gained by clothing itself in various personalities. The faults and drawbacks which prevent this attainment loom so darkly before the soul that paths are chosen which, no matter what the suffering involved may be, will correct the faults and remove the barriers to the fulfillment of the soul's destiny. Perhaps the destiny of the soul is to be an important worker for an upliftment of humanity with a definite place in that work. Such a soul may begin the work or at least lay the foundation in the earlier incarnations when the soul is young, inexperienced, and has not gone far from the sheltering love of the Father's house. But later, the various personalities build up life after life by the soul to use as an instrument may become rebellious. You know what I mean. I can't get that word out. Stray from the path and set up side issues, either as desires or complications, all of which must later be experienced and their essence of wisdom and power assimilated. For there must be free will. The personality must be free to choose its path, to follow or not to follow its divine guidance. Man alone of all the animals can choose whether he will or will not listen and obey. I'm gonna put a pause here in so many of the things that I have listened to in the last couple of weeks. The obey thing, and it's not even the surrender word that a lot of people have a hard time with, like surrender to self, surrender to the process, surrender, let it go, let it be. It's difficult in 3D to do that because bills still need to be paid. You still need to eat. You still need your everyday needs met. And you can't do that if you're waiting on, and yes, you can to an extent. You can hold out and obey source, of course. I think a lot of us do. But to some extent, the resistance to a lot of like, okay, let it go and let God provide is that sometimes God does not provide in the ways that we necessarily need to survive in a three-dimensional body. And not to say that it's not chosen for you to have that experience. That's the hang up a lot of us are having, that there's the world outside of us is dictating a lot of struggle, financial crisis, prices are up, no one's hiring. Like obviously people are hiring and no one, you're not being chosen like me. That door didn't work, that door wasn't meant for me. Okay, but when is the door going to open? Because bills need to get paid, it needs to happen soon, right? So that anxiety builds up and it's just like another illusion. So you see where I'm going with that? That this is the difficulty a lot of us in the spiritual movement is having, is things keep going up, we keep getting the tests and challenges, and we try to overcome them. We're trying to do the best that we can, and every time we try to take 5 steps forward, we get leaped back. And our souls are definitely persevering through the new cycle, incoming, being birthed. But we just need to breathe. The Father, the higher self, gives to each son the personality, the portion of goods belonging to him, that out of which he must weave his destiny. The son then departs into the far country of physical existence. Each son has his own portion, the portion belonging to him by right. If by karmic action he has earned a pleasant portion, wealth, position, and love of friends, with these he must cultivate soul growth and bring back to his father's house the greatest experiences and the deepest lessons of divine love that is possible to garner through those earthly blessings. If he has earned or chosen on his portion poverty, loneliness, sorrow, and sickness, he must garner the golden grains of wisdom from these experiences also. From all experiences are necessary. A lot of us chose that option 2 in the now. A lot of us. But the soul who can learn from another's experience need not pass that way itself. The personality must learn either by actually experiencing or by observation and sympathy with others, that the side issues are not what the higher self desires it to experience. And it must ultimately learn the great lesson, obtain the position, and do the work mapped out for it from the beginning. After eons of time and myriads of incarnations, the soul gradually gains more and more power over the various personalities through which it functions, and center by center subjects their physical matter to its own vibrations. The soul thus learns by experience how to manipulate matter and how better to express itself through a physical instrument, the body. When the ego has succeeded in building up an instrument into whose physical brain centers a sufficient number of spiritualized atoms, which vibrate in harmony with the higher self, are implanted, the instrument or personality may be said to be unfolding its inner faculties. At this stage of evolution, the greatest care is needed, for, as indicated in previous chapters, there are many enemies waiting for the opportunity to push back into the darkness or mislead for their own personal ends. The one who has labored so long and patiently to reach this advanced point. Let us suppose that one has reached this point and has kept the door of his heart and is conscious of the loving guidance of his Father in heaven. The great danger at this stage makes a careful study of the philosophy and laws of being essential. The voice of this silence has to penetrate into triumph over prejudice, the result of false education, and act through a physical brain. Since a physical brain can only register that which vibrates in harmony with its capacity, and since through all the years of its life it has been trained to vibrate only to physical stimuli, it must be gradually regenerated or bring the medium through which the message must pass to reach the brain consciousness of the personality. All that is passed through, it will necessarily be colored by something of its personal characteristics and prejudices. In other words, a message received from the higher self or from a master of wisdom can be interpreted only in terms afforded by the knowledge, training, and capacity of the physical brain of the personality. Thus, without special training, misunderstandings and misapplication of the message is more than probable. Many psychics blunder and subject themselves to ridicule and suffering by blindly accepting as literal the interpretation made by their untrained brains of messages which they know come from a true source. If this interpretation proves misleading, they are made miserable and perhaps turn away from the guiding voice which is trying so hard to help them. In such cases, the following rules should be strictly adhered to. First, by spiritual aspiration, prayer, uttered or unuttered, meditation, and above all, by love for all mankind as shown in the daily life, raise the vibrations of all the particles composing the brain centers. Second, by careful study of proper books and by a close observation of nature. Strive to familiarize the physical brain with the laws governing independent psychic and spiritual communication. The first one right there is literally everything that is starting to come out from Brian Scott of the reality revolution. It is starting to pop out in other people. I've been informed to take in the quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement, the many worlds interpretation of understanding that Tesla said it. This world is bound by frequency, vibration, and a whole plethora of math and geometry and brilliance that if we do breath work, if we go into meditation, if we speak good things and we give gratitude and we are high vibing, our brain centers are going to change. We're going to be able to collapse things into third dimension. But you need to be honest and truthful to yourself. And it's okay if you're not at that level just yet of understanding. I'm just understanding it as we speak. Third, carefully write out any message received, but do not talk about it to others. Then before showing it to anyone, go over it again and again, bringing to bear all your powers of logic and common sense to get its most probable application to your own life. For all messages from a proper source are in accord with the law of absolute justice. No true master ever tells a pupil to do anything that will in any way infringe upon the rights of another. Messages that cannot stand the test of love, compassion, and justice are either mistakes of understanding, misunderstanding, or deliberate attempts to mislead. For it must be remembered that there are masters of darkness ever watching and waiting to take advantage of those whose inner faculties are unfolding. Such perverted entities understand the law of communication, are able to reach the student at an earlier period of this development, that are the masters of light, because their vibrations are more nearly akin to the earth plane. For instance, the teachers and masters of the Great White Lodge can communicate with the people only over waves of selfless love, high aspiration, compassion, purity, and humility, while those of the left-hand path can use vibrations of ambition, self-seeking, pride, and vanity. But their message, while apparently lofty and pure, especially at first, have always the germ of some great personal power or reward to be gained by the people. Subtle flattery is also a feature of their instruction, while those from the White Lodge carefully point out the pupil's faults and tell him how to conquer them. The story of Dr. Faust, I'm not going to pronounce that properly. Sorry, Dr. F, is a materialized dramatization of the method used by such masters of evil. I'm going to put a pause here again. I say this with the galactic community and the spiritual community. There are a lot of people who believe or tend to channel, and the information is coming from their heart space. They believe it. They're giving it to you. They are trusted. And at the same time, you can hear the ego and the sneaky little things that come in, not every channeling, but every couple of channelings or every few channelings. You're hearing that exactly what they just laid out for you. You're hearing that stuff. Now, does it happen all the time? No. But there are a few channelers out there that I could tell you right now, even I have wait a minute, I don't align with that. Oh, what did they just say? Because a lower form is coming through them. And there's information being manipulated, and let's just say that when it comes to anything galactic, that they're coming in 2027. Like this is like once again, it's like The Simpsons. You're giving your consent to have this manifest, and we don't know how that manifestation is going to happen. I don't even tend to think about it. When it's divine timing and orchestration, God will provide and it source the all that is, whatever you want to label that energy. It will happen. They're already here. We're them. They are us. We're all one. So why is the obsession with them coming down and having like kumbaya pilgrim Thanksgiving? I don't get it. I don't understand it, and nor do I think I trust it. At this point, we're the ones saving ourselves. And sorry, we're gonna get rain, and my body's hurting. Um, just be careful. Like I channel, but I'm doing it out of it literally cognizantly in the now moment. I'm not closing my eyes and transing out and letting anything just come through me. I'm doing it cognizantly because I have more control of the things I feel, see, and bring towards me. But I don't give names to the things that I channel either because energy doesn't have a name, it has a frequency key. And we just give things names to make us human brains understand where and what and who, because we need those things to tangibly have a little bit more things make sense and make it feel true to us. Until the pupil has cleansed his heart of all self-seeking, he is open to attacks from the first mentioned source. You are never safe if the devil, the power of all that works against God or good, can find a single vibration of ambition or selfishness over which he can enter. As the higher self can communicate only over vibrations akin to himself, so the devil can tempt but never lead astray and deceive only over vibrations similar to his own. Hence, to protect yourself, send out vibrations of selfless love and compassion to all humanity. All, not just those you choose. Everything. See, I don't make the rules. You don't like to hear them. Well, some people don't. Each soul has an evil genius created by it during its long pilgrimage through matter. This is fully recognized and plainly taught in the temptations of the man Jesus. For he could gain mastery and enter on his earthly ministry. He was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted. Every neophyte is led by the Spirit, the higher self, into a mental wilderness where, alone in the dreary wastes of physical experience, he is tempted by the devil of his own creation. I've been saying that. The fasting for 40 days is that period during which he must abstain from his old thoughts and habits, must cease to seek for outward help and learn to seek within, must turn to his Father in heaven, listen to the voice of his higher self, and refuse longer to be guided by physical vibrations. It is a period during which the neophyte is left without spiritual food and hence must fast, when it seems that no help can reach him. Only after this prolonged fast in the mental wilderness does the devil come to tempt him. In the parable of the prodigal son, this is the period of his homeward journey, when he has refused to eat the husks and has not yet reached his father's house. It is always here that the devil meets each soul and tempts. In other words, he has really found that perfect vibration of love through which alone he can hear his higher self speak. The evil genius, or those akin to him, the masters of the shadow, can speak and tempt over vibrations of selfishness. This selfishness and ambition often require a long time to be transmuted into love for others, for they have a way of hiding behind all sorts of sophistries. Up to this point, the pupil has had to contend with but petty temptations and appetites, but now, having consciously taken an advanced step through prayer and fasting, he has deliberately entered the wilderness to be tempted. The first temptation coming from the side of evil is generally the of power. Command that these stones be made bread, the devil says. Command and demand all that you need. You are not sick or hungry. You are the Christ. Therefore, command that the earth, which karmic law has bereft of soul nourishment and spiritual satisfaction, shall be turned into bread to satisfy your physical wants, even though the very eating thereof binds you tighter to the wheel of physical existence. The second temptation comes in the form of self-righteousness. The devil takes the hungry soul up into a high place upon the very pinnacle of the temple, the body, and there showeth how the soul has conquered the flesh, growing holier than others by the control of the lower appetites, how it has reached the gates of the holy city and has become a guide and an example for many less holy and less pure followers. Then the devil declares, thou, if thou be the Son of God, or if thou be the Christ, as you have affirmed, cast thyself down, for you can do what a lesser soul could not do without sin. That which would be sin in one not placed upon so high a pinnacle of the temple within the holy city is for you but a certain license earned because of your holiness. He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against a stone. Therefore you can do that which would be sin in others. The third temptation is one of ambition. This only comes to the soul who has reached the mountains of the spiritual understanding. The neophyte has painfully climbed the mountain, has entered the silence and heard the voice and seen with his spiritual eyes. He has gained certain psychic powers, and lo, all the kingdoms of the world, the glory thereof, are spread before his sight. His evil genius points out that by his awakened psychic powers, he can gain the whole world, that men will bow down to him and give him fame and glory because he is a little in advance of the average, that he can charge large sums for interviews, psychic readings, can be feted and honored and listened to by the multitude, can be heralded from place to place by interview by the newspapers and receive much public acclaim, all of which is a very real and terrible temptation, and one which only those who have actually stood upon the exceeding high mountain and in their soul vision have actually seen the kingdoms of the world at their feet, who have heard the tempter say, all these things will I give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me, can understand or appreciate, for the temptation cannot come until the neophyte has approached the mountain's top. An understanding of these temptations should make each judge gently the shortcomings and failures of those who have stood upon the heights, but who have fallen down to the worship either the beast, the dragon, or the Antichrist. Let every one cultivate in his own garden the fruits of the Spirit, namely love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Every time you stop to ensure or condemn an enemy, your evil genius comes while you sleep and sows vile weeds in the garden of your soul, weeds which will grow apace and which must be rooted up, ere the fruits of the Spirit can be garnered. Every time you indulge in thoughts of evil, you are filling your garden with all sorts of predatory creatures, all of which must be driven out, ere you can become one with your Father and sit down at his table to eat the fruits of the Spirit. Pause, 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 pause. Freya hair, maybe? I have an itchy nose. Someone's thinking about me. Pause. Hi. Why do I talk about divine neutrality so much? It's because we, as human souls, need to love all things. not just the things we prefer over what we don't prefer, because it's all God. When you're seeing a ton of people out there, there needs to be in 3D, and then this was written a long time ago, but it still holds true to this point. People who are walking the godly path, people who are anointed by source, will not charge you for advice. Now, good tidings, an exchange of energy, it can come in many different ways. You have to give from your heart, not have dollar signs and I know a lot of people out there that have abilities, and once again, they are charging $500 to $600 for workshops and for clearings and taking out etheric stuff out of you. Do I really know if there's etheric stuff within me? Why are you charging me that amount? You know, being humble about your abilities and being humble that yes, you need to eat, you need to keep your house and roof over your head, you need to be sustained in some sense, does offer an energetic exchange. But when people are overly charging hundreds of thousands of dollars for events and the meet and greets and $500-600 here, take the flight here, pay for the hotel, and here you can come meet me. I don't know about that. Like, it doesn't sit well with me. And I know for safety purposes, and we're in different times, things are different, things cost money, but you could see who's been deceived by thus said devil, by their own very nature, are getting lower entities coming through, giving them messages that sound so fantastical. Med beds and blah blah blah, and this is going to happen this time, and we're having this happen at this time. I'm still waiting on some flash, the news of the flash, because I'm not experiencing that flash. The energy, sure, I'll take that, but this grand spectacle that we're all supposed to be seeing and experiencing, I don't think it's been incoming for ages. Why are you so special that you're going to be the one to see it? Humble yourselves. This is where I'm sitting in the humble and gratitude state of what in the world am I going to do, and where is life leading me? I still don't know. I don't have an answer. But you know what I'm not going to do? My artwork is at cost and it's cheap. I don't charge thousands of dollars for my work. I mean, I could. Some of the pieces I definitely should. But I want to make things accessible to everybody in every denomination, because not everybody has it. We really need to get more into a wholesomeness and understanding and know what energy exchange really is, especially in this third dimensional space. And yes, you create your own demons, you created your own devil, and you are the one that has to overconquer that. Walk the righteous path, walk in your light, shine that shit like the lighthouse that we all are, and you'll be fine. Yes, we're all tempted for things. I get it. But we are where we need to be, and we're in the tests that we need to be for reasons that sometimes we won't know for years into the future, or maybe never, until you transcend in the human form. But just know there's a lot of people out there doing this, and there's a lot of people who put on a good front, people that say, oh, I don't have it, and then where are you throwing your money? because you know what? All those subscribers add up. All that stuff adds up. And you see, like you talk in the lack and the poverty when most people aren't really in it. It's a perceived notion. You know, I'm thankful for the people that I have in my life because if it wasn't for some of my friends sending me clothes and hand-me-downs and, they look new. They're new to me, but they're not new. Someone getting me fruit so that I can have smoothies and try to do a little better with my health. I'm thankful for it, but it doesn't come every month and it's not going to come every day. And I think once we can be humbled about the things that God sends through others, those are our angels, we'll be better for it. And I hope more of humanity starts waking up to the fact that we have to see beyond good and evil. The devil is just a test. And when you detach the fear and the anxiety and the outside of self limitation separation idea from source, and you see that the devil is just a creation that you made and you can unmake it as much as you made it. Bye, Felicia. Adios. The cultivation of the fruits of spirit will leave you no time to see the shortcomings of others. To eat of these fruits will be to sit down at your Father's table and sup with him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. That ends this chapter. It was a very powerful one. And the next one is the path. Oh. Everything happens in divine orchestration, and there's no perfect way to say that this is always falling on the right absolute timing that needs to be put out into the ether to be heard. Getting to the bottom, it's getting a little bitter. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I put a lot of my commentary on it today, just because this is my wheelhouse. I am, like all of you, an agent of source. And many of us are here to say the same words, maybe in our own frequency, our own vibration, in our own way. Put the ego to the side. It sounds very egotistical. It does. To make claims, to put it out there, but you have to claim what you are and own it and embody it, feel it in your heart space. You can't collapse anything if you don't feel it, believe it. And I know this is where a lot of my blocks, in which I am working through doing subconscious work, because a lot of the consciousness is here, it's being channeled and flowing through, but somewhere in the subconscious, I took a vow of poverty in one of my other lives that I had to like literally burn up a contract I had to write and then burn it and let it go and thank it for what it was there in that lifetime, but it's not for this lifetime, and no longer will that be bound to me. No, thank you. I contract myself for abundance, prosperity, financial security, and being happy. That's not much to ask because I don't require that much. Um, I just want to be able to keep creating my artwork, reading books, and just having my needs met. And I think that's where most of us are at in this life. And, you know, let's hope we can all manifest that collapse, that wave function for it to actually happen. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within, be the shoulder, Be the lighthouse. Sprinkle and seed your truths. Light that path forward. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. And thank you for everything you guys do for me. It's so appreciated. It is getting, I'm not sitting in fear, but it is getting scary. So I do thank everybody who is being of great help to me right now. Thank you guys. Bye for now.